Al, Kathy here. So I need to answer Eric's question from late March. I know it was a Thursday where I had this super long NASA volunteering shift. It was like 7 or 8 hours, and I was just exhausted. So video wasn't happening, and then spring break. But anywho, um, his question was, "What are you most looking forward to as a music educator?" So for me, if I had to pick the one sole thing that I am most looking forward to, it's definitely getting to know all of my different students that I'll have in like my decades or however long that I'll be teaching. Because in my past, my music teachers have been the most influential people in my life and perhaps the people that I could depend upon most. In not just like music, but personal things, anything that was troubling me, I would go to them first. And I know that there's lots of kids who are in music who really need it, as Eric said. And without music, they don't really know where they belong. So I want to make sure I reach out to those kids and know that music and like the orchestra room, band room, chorus room, wherever, that is their home and that's where they can trust me and trust their peers, and it's just a loving family where they don't have to worry about anything. Right before I left for college, one of my teachers actually told me something that stuck with me, and he basically said that when he became a teacher, one of his goals since like the 7th grade was to find the kid with the spark, and if he could influence them and like change something about their lives, impact them in some important way, one way or another, then he would have succeeded. And he told me that I was that kid that he found with that spark. And he gave me his baton. He told me that when I go to be a music teacher, I should find that kid with the spark as a favor to him and like use everything that he taught me and that I'll learn in college to find the kids with the sparks, impact their lives as much as I can, and show them that music can be something that's for life, and how music can really help you in every other facet of your life. So this may sound strange, but for me the most important thing about music is not the music, it's actually about the connections that you share with people who you play music with or collaborate with in your music making. So like your conductors, private teachers, and everybody else in orchestras or bands or choirs, any kind of ensemble you play in. There's something about playing music that's very intimate in a way, and you have this sort of unspoken communication that puts you on a level that's different than any other relationship that you would build with friends normally. And I'm not exactly sure how to articulate that difference, but I've always been a sort of introverted, quieter person, but music has been a way for me to make a small handful of friends that I know I'm going to have for life and who I would give my life for, and who I know they would give their lives for me and they would do anything for me and I would do the same for them. So when I become a teacher, I not only want to be a teacher to my kids, but I want to be a friend, and I want to be a resource. I want to be somebody that they can turn to. And when they look back on high school, I want them to think of their ensembles and playing in a group and think, wow, that was the best time that I ever had, and everybody in the class were like my greatest friends, they were like my family, and the teacher was one of my best friends. I could talk to them about anything, and they were just so sincere and genuine, and they were a real person, not just somebody up at the front of the class lecturing or imparting knowledge. And there's this thing I talked about in a EPS class, and it was like the relationship between teacher, student, and content. So there's the typical like linear. There's teacher has a relationship with the content, and then they have to try and get the content to the student. And a more modern and genuine way of thinking of it is it's like triangular. There's teacher, which has a relationship with the content, but then student and teacher also have this relationship. and student to content, but anyways, you get what I mean. The student to teacher relationship is one of the most important things that I think, and it's one of the most beneficial ways that I can spend my life impacting other people in a positive way. And Getty, I'm really glad you brought up actually how difficult it can really be sometimes to be a music educator. It can really weigh down on you how much work you have, especially when there's things like marching bands and pit orchestras and other traveling things that high schools do. It really can take a lot of time out of your personal life and family and things like that. But I think it's important that we ask this question, what you're most looking forward to, because every day when we wake up and get ready to teach at our schools, we can wake up and get ready for the day and say, I'm most looking forward to blah blah blah. And this is why I'm doing what I love. For example, my high school director, he's getting really weighed down by all the work that he has to do lately. And for example, they just put on Les Mis and they're having their closing weekend this weekend. And I've heard from a lot of the kids that he's not as fun as he used to be, and he's not the real Benson that they know. And I've just been, talking to him saying, they can tell when you're not having fun or you're not loving what you're doing. And I just kind of needed to give him a little shove and say, hey, you've been wanting this since the 7th grade. You're doing what you love. I know it can be a lot of work sometimes, but your kids love you and they admire everything that you do for them, and it means the world. And that's the teacher that I want to be. So I'm most looking forward to just making a difference in their lives and being somebody that they can count on no matter what, because that's what I always needed when I was a student. So I'll stop rambling, but I hope you're having not too tough of a time settling back into things here at UAC, and I'll see you around.